Step into the time machine. We're going back in time. Cruising our way back in time because it's late out and I don't want to be loud. You read the title. We're going to be looking at some old anime sites that were taken down that were some of my favorites. I've been an anime fan for a long time, so there's been so many sites that have come and gone, and mostly have gone because there's a lot of piracy out there. And these websites are such a core part of the anime experience, whether it be watching or talking about anime on these sites, that I thought it'd be nice to look back at them. I'm glad that the ones that aren't here anymore are able to be seen again through stuff like the Wayback Machine and screenshots. So I just wanted to look through some of these to bring back some memories. As I talked about before, yes, I'll be talking about some piracy sites. Don't worry, most of the current ones I will be referring to keep those safe so they don't get taken down, just in case the FBI is watching or something, and we can enjoy those sites. I don't get a whole lot of views, but it only takes one person to see that shit for the website to get taken down and be ruined for everyone. Speaking of website that's down, the first website I want to talk about is Kiss Anime. I don't know why it looks like that. It's just because of a Chrome feature that I enabled to make everything dark mode. So these websites are going to be looking at slightly different from how we remember them. And yes, I know there's like versions of Kiss Anime out there. They're not the same as the glory days, so they're dead to me. So the title checks out. Kiss Anime is a big one because this was like the piracy site. If you wanted to stream some anime and you didn't want to pay for garbage like Crunchyroll or Netflix, you would go here. And man, this site was so good for hardcore fans like me. They had massive library. There was so much random shit from the 60s and the 70s. I remember I watched the original Cyborg 009 on this. I guess it's not that obscure because maybe back in like 2017 there was like a reboot of the series. I don't know how well that went. Probably not very well. And just so much random bullshit from like the 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, tons of OVAs. And for hardcore anime watchers like me who just want to watch random garbage instead of new popular shit, it was great because you had access to pretty much everything. And with this random feature right on the front page, it really encouraged people to just watch random bullshit. I watched Lucky Star for the first time because of the random feature. It literally popped up on the front page of Kiss Anime, the random thing. It's like a top 5 favorite show of all time for me. I watch it like every couple of years and it's such a good time every time. It's the anime I've rewatched the most, and I would not have gone to that anime so soon if the random feature didn't nudge me towards that show. And to my recollection, none of these other anime sites have the random feature. They only sort by like popular shows, currently airing shows, and like alphabetical order, and that's it. So they're not really encouraging you to go through their whole libraries. I wish this feature would come back to a lot of websites. So it encourages people to not just watch new or popular stuff, but go a little bit deeper and watch some of the more obscure stuff, and giving people that little nudge to try something new that they wouldn't have otherwise. So what gets people to like expand their horizons, expand their knowledge and whatnot? Obviously you're still allowed to like popular stuff. It's popular for a reason. I just think it's cool that this website made it easier for people to watch the more obscure stuff. There's so much random garbage out there to enjoy, ironically or not. And since this website was really popular, the comments on each of the shows and episodes were pretty full on pretty much every show, and it was really fun going into those to discuss the shows. I still have some of these Discus messages on my email, so we could look at a few of those. Thank God I don't delete emails, because I would not have any of these comments here if I didn't have it in my email, which is great because I did some talking in here. How could you expect someone to learn how to swim in a day? Clearly someone hasn't seen SAO Extra Edition. To be fair, she only really need to get over the trauma for the most part. We'll get to SAO Extra Edition, don't you worry. Man, I really like the Cardcaptor Sakura dub. I think it was like the first like half of the show, it had one cast, and then the second half of the show, it had a different cast, and it was so weird. And I just couldn't watch it. I had a sub or in that dub for the rest of it, so I just haven't watched it in years. Yeah, talking about weird grooming relationships in Cardcaptor Sakura. Yeah, that is a little strange, huh? Yeah, it was kind of weird when they just switched from the dub to Japanese nominees for singing. You'd think it'd be like Haruhi with the concert scene from that, where the actor just sang, but that was some fucking stupid Animax dub. So I guess they couldn't bother to get the fucking voice actor who probably didn't know how to sing. Oh yeah, this is one of the first times I was shitting myself over Haruhi. 2017. That's when I was first watching it. I read the light novels beforehand and I loved them. So I watched it in the original 2006 order. That's why I was talking about the opening episode on episode 25. It's still my favorite anime after all this time. I guess that goes to show how good that show was. Yeah, shitting on Arrow Manga Sensei. I can't believe people actually like enjoy that shit. It's subjective or whatever, but holy hell, that show was such a fucking atrocity. Just the retarded semantic argument is like, you know what I meant. The TV series, obviously. But yeah, whatever. It's arguments on the internet, so I can't get mad 8 years later. Yeah, but it was super fun talking about these shows on Discus. Again, because there was such a big anime community all on Kiss Anime. Anyway, I remember the Kiss Anime player being the best. It was this very simple HTML player. It had no ads on it when you clicked on it, which is important because newer sites, they're like these third-party players. They need some revenue too, right, to keep it going. But the website also needs their own ads to keep it going, so the new sites are full of fucking ads, like especially on mobile. When I click on a player on one of these new sites, I get fucking a billion ads. It's super annoying. That's why I download everything, so I don't have to deal with that shit partially, and also buffering. It didn't have to rely on this third-party service, so it didn't really go down separately at all. It just went down when Kiss Anime went down, which wasn't very often until, you know, the final days around 2020. And it was really good because the ads were only on the website, so you wouldn't be clicking the player trying to click out of ads all the time, and it's so nice. And it made it really easy to download stuff. You could just like right click on it. It's either that or there was like a link under it for downloads. It named all the video files the same thing, so you had to write down what episode it was so you don't get confused, but it was still good. I didn't take advantage of that feature very much because I just wanted to stream stuff. I didn't want to wait for downloads back then, but I should download because it's way better to have the actual file where you don't have to deal with the ads or with buffering when you just have a download file. Eventually I did end up going the download route with other websites, and I currently do that now, so you know, better late than never. It's so funny that this piracy website had such a better player than actual official websites. Remember when fucking Crunchyroll had this Flash player? I don't remember how long they've had it because I stopped using this shit in like 2017, but that's like still way too long to have this dog shit Flash player. I remember when you had a free account, they had a fucking watermark on it. Holy shit, it was so bad. You couldn't seek very well, so if you wanted to rewind, it was fucking awful. For whatever reason, it was just so bad to use it. And then meanwhile, other piracy sites had a much easier player to use. They had better libraries. It's good that there are a couple websites out there that still have a similar vibe to Kiss Anime with not that many ads and a very simple player and very simple downloading, both anime and not anime. But it's sad that they don't really have the same libraries as Kiss Anime, and I really wish there was a website that was as good as Kiss Anime still here, but you know, good things don't last. Kiss Anime was super good when we still had it. I think it was up until like 2020, and then they like fully shut it down, at least like the great version of Kiss Anime with the very easy to use player. A lot of historic shit on it too. Like I remember seeing Sword Art Online ordinal scale phone camera recording as like the official Kiss Anime version that people would watch on there, and it was historic because Sword Art Online was a big fucking deal, right? People really wanted to see that movie no matter how dog shit it was. Another film that was pirated in a really funny way was Your Name. When that film was in theaters in Japan, there was a lot of buzz going around about it. It was doing really well in theaters. There were people in Japan reviewing it saying like, oh man, people in the West have got to see this movie, it's so good. And broke children like me wanting to watch that film were really blessed when someone ripped a review copy and just posted it on the internet. Thankfully, there's still torrents for this up, but this crusty ass review copy with fucking Chinese everywhere, or Japanese, I guess, was the first version of the film you could watch on sites like Kiss Anime. And it was so historic because people were so desperate to watch this film. It was so popular that some guy was willing to fucking rip a review copy so that everyone could enjoy it in 2016. And this was the first way I watched the film. I remember watching it with my one friend, watching this crusty ass version. They were like, holy shit, this film is so fucking awesome. And it's still beautiful, even in this bizarre state. And what sucks about when websites like this go down, their libraries go with them. So you don't get historical nuggets like this just sitting on these newer websites. And it's kind of a shame because they're such an interesting part of anime, and stuff like this doesn't happen that often. So just having people be exposed to these weird artifacts of anime, it makes it more fun discussing all this niche shit that happens. I do miss shit like that. Another website I really miss is GoGo Anime. It just went into a crappy state like a lot of these newer sites where it's just new anime and no downloads. This one is the one where I started really using downloads. That and 9anime. 9anime used to have downloads on their site. The one I use, they don't have it anymore, and that's sad. Yeah, this one was kind of similar to Kiss Anime, where it had actually a pretty decently big library. I don't think it had as much niche shit on it as Kiss Anime though, but downloading stuff on this website was so nice. On the little download screen, you could pick between 1080p, 480p, whatever, dubbed or sub in English. It would have been crazy if there was downloads in multiple languages, but that's kind of hard to fit on one website. That's why it's only really in torrents. Having so many download options was so good. I usually watch anime on my phone, so I download 480p, and I don't notice the difference between like 480p and like 1080p on my phone because it's such a small screen. So I would just download the 480p versions just because it would be faster to download and would take up less space on my phone. And it was so simple to use the downloader. You just clicked like two things and boom, you got your download. And the file names were actually labeled with the episode numbers, so you didn't have to rename everything. There are still websites where you can just click a couple things and get an MP4 file, not going through the hassle of torrenting, but I do miss when downloading on anime websites had so much variety and was so simple. Again, 9anime was in a similar state with a really big library and easy downloads, but that version of that site is also gone, so bye-bye, I guess. Another site that was tragically taken from us is Hentai Haven. I don't remember how good the library was or how functional the website was, but I really do miss the branding of this one. The Hentai Haven logo, the intro. And so many of these websites all had intros, they all had their own logos. I really miss when websites had more of an identity to them. It sucks that these new websites don't really have time to develop a really strong identity. They're just so volatile now that they get taken down because of piracy. But back in the day, these websites lasted longer. And back then, we got stuff like the Hentai Haven girl, who's just that girl from Afterglow. See, it's the same fucking girl. It's just, they changed her eye color and that's it. Now all these hentai sites and fucking porn sites just have AI porn. And now the succubi from these fucking hentais have sucked the soul out of us and just gave us robotic AI porn. And it's not as fun as having like charming little intros and mascots. One of the non-piracy sites I actually like to use was Viewster, but when I search up Con TV, it goes to Midnight Pulp, which doesn't even have anime on it. I remember in like 2016, I stopped watching Netflix because Netflix is garbage and my dad didn't want to pay for it. So I was looking through a bunch of apps on his Blu-ray player, and Viewster was one of them, and it had anime on it. It was a free app, but you had to watch ads. But the thing is, I don't remember having to watch ads on it, so I have no idea how they made money. Since it was free, they didn't really have a lot of options because they could only get cheap licenses for stuff, but made me really like small libraries. It's great to have stuff like Kiss Anime where there was basically everything on it, but that can be kind of overwhelming at times. Like, there's so many options, it's hard to choose what to actually spend your time on. But with a small library, there's not much choice, so it's a lot easier to pick something. And it also encouraged you, like how the random feature did, to get you to watch stuff you might not have watched in the first first place. I remember watching Sound of the Sky on Viewster. I think this show is really underrated. I do want to make a video on this show at some point. There's also some fairly popular stuff on it, like Toradora and School Days, a very infamous show. Yeah, this is Con TV, but there's this one that Con TV also redirects to, so I don't know which one's real. And it's kind of sad because this one has like way too much crap on it. They don't even have an anime genre, but there's so much shit on here, fucking hundreds of pages of stuff. I remember the show anyway. And it's just not the same as how Viewster was with its small library. It's really nice that you could get the small library experience again with stuff like Tubi or Retro Crush, which are both free, so you could just watch whatever. Yeah, sure, there's ads on them, but if you want that small library experience, these are the ones to go to. And I'm glad that sites like this still exist, at least. Funnily enough, I used Google+. I didn't really have a good reason to use Google+. I must have thought like, oh, there's a hole in the market. I could get really big on Google+. In the end, no one gave a shit about this and they fucking got rid of it only a couple of years after it came out. I might have been intimidated by mainstream sites like Twitter or Reddit. And I did used to have a Twitter that I actually used to post stuff, but Twitter's so cancer that I just deleted my Twitter anyway. It's so funny because I remember the conversations I had on this. I would go on the Google Plus anime community and just shit talk people's favorite anime because I was such a little dickhead because I watched Digibro and like all those normal boots. It was like, oh, my opinion's better than yours, but now I just don't care. I remember I went into this Plastic Memories thread and just shit talk the show. People would argue with me and would argue back. I still don't like that show, but it's been like a decade since I actually watched it, so maybe I like it now, but I would not discuss that show the way I was discussing that show back then. I don't think it's here though. Okay, there's a little bit on Plastic Memories here. But not what it was actually doing. I remember there was this other guy who posted this video on top 10 best action anime, and one of them was Akame ga Kill. Akame ga Kill is still like my least favorite anime of all time. Well, it's close. Eromanga Sensei is up there too as some of the worst. I was raring to go trying to shit talk this guy because he liked Akame ga Kill, and I can have that because of course my opinion was so much better than everyone else's. So it was like, hey idiot, you put a 90-second clip of the characters standing around fucking talking, you're gonna get copyright striked. And he was like, no, that's not gonna happen. But guess what? He still got copyright striked. Which is so funny because you can't have a 90-second clip uninterrupted, not edited at all in a YouTube video. It wasn't true back then, it's still not true now. It was really funny that that guy didn't think he was gonna get copyright striked. Clearly he was going to with that unedited clip. I wish it showed what I wrote down so I could actually illustrate what I said, but unfortunately I just didn't save that stuff. All of this like critiquing people's videos was like before I really started making videos, so it's just like this little asshole who was going around shit talking people's videos and shit talking your favorite anime when I wasn't even making that shit myself. But I don't know, it was funny being a provocateur and getting into arguments with people. Like, I guess I'm still kind of that, but it's more authentically my take. People come to me to get mad at me instead of me specifically going after people to make them mad. This last one actually isn't taken down, but it's basically dead because who uses this shit, which is a blogger. I remember a lot of the anime YouTubers I watched started out with anime blogs instead of making videos. Anime Man was one of them. Digibro, who's now Trixie the Golden Witch. Yeah, all of these YouTubers start with blogs. And it's like, oh, I don't know how to edit videos and record voices and shit. So what I did was make a blogger account, and I didn't really do much with it. I still do think it's a really good thing to focus on one aspect at a time if you want to make YouTube videos, and writing's the easiest thing because you don't need a special program for it. And once you're at least a little bit familiar with each aspect of video creation, then you could actually make a video that's somewhat competent. I remember I had a post about this art club has a problem on this blog, but I deleted it for some reason. I don't know why. Clearly, there was a post here in 2016 that got 44 views, so I did have something here, but I don't know, it's just not there. I'm really curious of how my opinion would have changed on this show from 2016 when I watched this to 2020 when I made the video on that show, and I really wish I had that blog still up so I can compare the video to what I wrote back then. I have this old hard drive from a laptop I accidentally poured water on, which did have a bunch of old scripts on it. I used Discord to try to read the hard drive, but it didn't work, so maybe there's something else I could do to recover the files from this, but it seems pretty fucked. Luckily, I do have this old script. This was actually for a video. The old This Art Club Has a Problem one was just straight up a blog post with like pictures and video clips and stuff. I was going to do a video on Sword Art Online Extra Edition, which was just like this recap movie with an extra side plot in it, instead of doing this video on the cave episode in Sword Art Online 2. But yeah, it's almost 3,000 words, so it would have been like a 15 to 20 minute long video, and that was really overwhelming for me. I decided to do video on one 20-minute episode because I thought it would be easier for me to jump into video making with a smaller project. I thought this would have been a good idea because since it's a recap episode, it's a condensed version of this show, so I could just basically talk about everything I didn't like about Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online was really easy to shit on back then. I thought that would like propel me into relevancy immediately, but the problem is everyone made videos shit talking SAO, so my video just got buried. I think it still only has like 200 views. But now looking at this script, it's just so fucking terrible. The jokes are so bad. Like, the script is really nitpicky. You can just pause to read it if you want. It was really unfunny. I would probably still use this joke. I watch dubs, fuck you. I don't have to explain every time that I like using dubs in my videos, okay? Especially the scripted videos. It's more like jokey than actual review, it seems. Yeah, I still really like Bryce Papenbrook. I feel like I don't see him in dubs anymore, which is kind of a shame because he seemed like he really enjoyed doing that. He had loud, obnoxious humor. Dude, you can have sex in the video game while there's so many kids in it. He sounds really evil. I should have said comically evil there. Gary does use water gun. Super effective. I hope I'm a better writer now, even though I haven't written a video in a while, but don't worry, it's gonna be there. Yeah, with references like this, why don't you fucking get me to write the next Borderlands game, even though Borderlands cut the really cringe references a lot. Yeah, it's kind of weird that Klein, who was like in his 20s, was ogling over these girls. I was a big Jeff Thu fan. I haven't watched his videos in years. I remember he was Crunchyroll shill, but now he hates them, which is really funny. This part was really interesting. The reason it was like this is because there was some sort of miscommunication at A1, where Reki Kawahara thought he only had to write a recap film, but A1 Pictures wanted a pool episode, so he just weaved the pool stuff into the recap. And it's much easier to write just a stupid pool episode where people look at titties than it is to gather the entire show and pick out all the important parts to... I don't even know if this is real. I hadn't researched this in so long, so I could have been making this shit up. So I'm really glad I put the reps into writing scripts before I had the confidence to actually record and edit videos, even though these scripts were really bad. I had the notes for this mostly done in July. I really wanted to focus on my work-life balance since, you know, it was my first full-time job, and I honestly just wanted to chill after work for the sake of my own sanity. But the good thing is having money from a job is really nice because you could buy stuff you want with it. And what I did was upgrade my computer, alright? And my setup is super nice now. I have a lot of desk room now. I have a 1440p monitor. I should show you the difference between my current setup and my previous setup. I got monitor arms, so I'm not gonna have fucking neck problems down the line. If you're curious about the specs I now use, there you go. Also, Suicide Squad still runs like ass. Just look at those 1% lows. Look how stuttery that gameplay is. And now that I have a more powerful computer, I could play more games. And now, since I could enjoy gaming more now, I might make more gaming videos. I'll try to make a couple more videos by the end of the year. I do really want to get a scripted video out though by the end of the year. I did work on it a bit and I really like the topic for that video, so hopefully I'll get that out by the end of the year. I promise to work on stuff. It's just the thing is with me is like I need momentum. I need to constantly be doing the YouTube thing. When I stop, it's really hard for me to get back into it. So I just gotta keep going at it, and it's very fulfilling when I do it, so I should just do it. So I'll be making more videos. And I will practice the unscripted videos in between the scripted ones like I've been talking about and not doing. So yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.